interesting article up on Niners Nation right now, and it's written by Patrick Holloway. He says, what should the 49ers do with Steve Wilks in the offseason? And I'm on record as saying, I don't think Wilks has been disappointing at all. The Niners only give up 17 points a game. They've lost a lot of good run defenders so to me, that's why their run defense is not as great, is that their personnel against the run is not as great. But then they have a poll question here at the end, and they say, are you satisfied with Steve Wilks? And your options are yes, give him another season with a healthy roster. Option 2 is, let me see what he does in the Super Bowl. Option 3 is no, something is off, and the 49ers need to do a deep dive at the end of the season. And option 4, it's time for an immediate change. So what do you think is the leading option? What do you think? I can give you the numbers of where they're sitting votes-wise. Who do you think has the most votes out of those 4? Time for an immediate change. Something's off. The Niners need to do the deep dive at the season's end. Let me see what he does in the Super Bowl. Or yes, give him another season with a healthy roster.
Let me see what he does in the Super Bowl. Yeah, definitely.
42. You're right. 42% of the fans said, "Let's see what he does in the Super Bowl." 29 said, "No, something's off, and the Niners need to do a deep dive at the end of the season." 23% said, "Yes, give him another season with a healthy roster," and only 6% said it's time for an immediate change. Why?
The reason why I knew that it was going to be let us see what they do in the Super Bowl is because really what they want to do is they just want to hedge their bets to see how they want to place blame, right? If we win it and defense isn't that necessarily of an issue, winning the game, nobody wants to talk about it. But I feel like that almost in a way we don't like to admit what side of the bread our butter is on in a certain instance, like because we're led by an offensive coach who's very smart and he's been called a genius, and because offensively we look good and it's an offensive league, but it just doesn't feel good to admit that after all of that, after all of the names, after all of the fanfare, who's MVP, get Christian McCaffrey a touchdown every game. Trent Williams is the best offensive lineman in the league. Nobody can get a ball better than Deebo Samuel. Whoa, nobody can get screens better than Deebo Samuel. All of that cool stuff. It still comes back to our defense. We are led by our defense. We are a complimentary football team that is always going to be on our defense. So much so that we're even having the discussion on what to do with Coach Wilks while we're going to the Super Bowl. That's preposterous to me. That's wild, right? If somebody raised the question right now, should Kyle Shanahan be on the hot seat if we lose the Super Bowl right now? There might be a murder. Somebody might get assassinated because of that take, because it'd be that preposterous. But Wilks is a scapegoat. If you look at throughout the year, Kyle waltzed him out in front of everybody when he made a coaching blunder, when he called the zero blitz that didn't lose them the game, but it was just a turning point in the game, right? And because it was a turning point in the game, Kyle even admitted to he admitted to reporters and media, like, yeah, he knows what he did. It's always been a higher standard for the defensive side of the ball on this team because that's what leads us. That's where the money is. Jed himself came out and said it. We usually don't spend super high picks on offensive guys or really spend assets in free agency on offense. And we always try to spend our money and put all of our best interest in defense because Kyle's not going to spend that much time on the ball. On that side of the ball, he's always going to be focused on the offense. So we always make sure that the best of the best is on the defensive side of the ball. Like our head coaches outside of Mike McDaniels have been on the defensive side of the ball. The culture of this team, the culture that started this team came from Robert Saleh. The sideline camaraderie, getting the entire team, not just the defense, the offense involved, all gas, no brakes. That's defense. Come on, that comes from the defensive side of the ball. Our culture from our linebacking room came from Quan Alexander, who put that in, he instilled that in all of those boys. That comes from the defensive side of the ball. All right. The guy who we pay like a quarterback, making $34 million a year, is on the defensive side of the ball. So Wilks being here right now, he came in here and he didn't even get to implement his own defense that he probably interviewed with. He came in acquiescing on his back saying, how I'm going to get this job is I'm going to go ahead and bend the knee. I'll learn the defense. I'll do it your way. Even him being a subject matter expert, all right, with head coaching experience and being a subject matter expert in secondary, when we saw our defense not performing up to the level that we should in wins. This isn't when we were losing. In wins when our defense wasn't looking good. Nick Bosa was out for the entire summer. He comes back a week before the season, and the first thing they start talking about is the front end is not matching the back end. You know, we need to get back to what we usually do. We need to get back to doing our things. He acquiesced with that. Even when we started the season, Coach Wilks, known, I call my defense from the booth. All right. That right there lets you know you got the head coach of the team on the sidelines, but they need the motivation from the first year guy. He's the guy that has to come down from the booth and get down there. And to his credit, he did it. All right. And we've seen wonders because of it. So the facts is that we're led by our defense. Our money is in our defense. The owner said it's about the defense. The team, they gaslit him into understanding, hey, no, you got to do it our way. So now when you start seeing effort issues, we can't turn around and look at Coach Wilks and say, well, what is Coach Wilks doing to get them together? No, they have let Coach Wilks know in every way, at every turn, that you are coming into something that is already built. The infrastructure is already there. This defense is turnkey. All you got to do is just show up. So now they got to show up. It's not on Wilks. He's being scapegoated. The man's doing his job. As a matter of fact, where you want to look at the emergence of Coach Wilks and what he's been doing for the team is look at Demo. Look at Javarius Ward. Look at Ambry Thomas. Look at how we've seen these boys grow in front of us. Diamador Lenore was not the same player he was last year. He's come out and said it's because of Coach Wilks. Mooney Ward has come out and said, no, Coach Wilks is my guy. Outside of what he's done for our team and who he is as a man, personally, he got me to a Pro Bowl and a first-team All-Pro. So it ain't on Coach Wilks. It ain't on Coach Wilks. This was already built before he got here.
I mean, to me, and you know, if people are being critical, I mean, what are you being critical of? Because if you're looking at where they actually rank, they're third in points allowed. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's about. It's about limiting points. They're third in the league in points allowed. They're number one in the league in interceptions. You know, they lead the NFL with 22 interceptions. So, I mean, that's his strength, is he's on the back end. You asked him to step into a defense that was going with the wide nine, that already had the structure in place, and he's done that. And on the back end, they lead the NFL with 22 interceptions. So, the question is, if they can get a couple in this game, they got a chance to win. I mean, they got a real chance to win.